Yeah, welcome to my presentation. Favorite subject, recess, promoting physical activity through selected play equipment for schoolyards. Again, my name is Ferdinand Sieglin. I work for Berliner in Berlin, and we've been manufacturing play equipment for almost 50 years. And we not only equip playgrounds, but also schoolyards all over the world with play equipment. Before I talk specifically about playground equipment, I would like to address the question, why do we need playground equipment that promotes physical activity in schoolyards at all? And the answer is pretty easy. It's because movement is healthy for our children. And therefore, we have to provide schoolyards with a versatile range of physical exercise and movement that supports the physical, the social, and the mental development of the children. And of course, school playgrounds should also consider children with disabilities. And concerning schoolyards, I just wanted to remind of that inclusive play spaces are not just about eliminating barriers for wheelchairs, but inclusive school playground should address all children with all different abilities. And that means, for example, the school playground should enable different sensory experiences. It should provide motor challenges in different graduations, and it should enable children to experience their communalities as well as their differences as autonomously as possible and in close proximity. Because in this way, a school playground can become a real meeting place where all children with all different abilities and needs can learn from and with each other. Besides those aspects concerning inclusion, there are a lot more things that have to be considered when designing play equipment for schoolyards. And to get a better overview of all the essential factors in this context, we designed a profile of requirements for equipment in school playgrounds. This profile is divided into direct factors and indirect factors. The direct factors are aimed directly at the users, so in this case, the students. The indirect factors are aimed at teachers and directors who are responsible for supervising students, and they also have influence on the financial resources of a school. And if those factors, so the indirect factors, are not considered, the task of creating a schoolyard with appropriate playground equipment will fail, regardless how attractive certain play equipment will be for the students. So that's why the indirect factors have at least the same importance than the direct factors. Yeah, concerning the direct factors, play equipment on schoolyards should provide a versatile range of physical exercise. They should provide a high degree of challenge to be as attractive as possible. They should offer room for as many children as possible. And of course, play equipment on schoolyard should provide the necessary level of safety. Concerning the indirect factors, school play equipment should provide ease of supervision, a long service life, simple maintenance, and last but not least, they should be easy extendable if outdoor spaces of educational institutions have to be redesigned, for example, or enlarged. So now everyone can see this profile of requirements. And now the big question is, what solution do we have to meet the direct as well as the indirect factors in the best possible way? And now I would like to introduce to you two concepts of play equipment that, in our opinion, meet best the requirement profile. One moment. Sorry. Yeah, two concepts. The first concepts are play equipment that have a three-dimensional net of ropes, like this 3D net climber you can see on a school playground in Germany. And the other design I want to mention is low rope courses, like you can see here, consisting of many different climbing elements. And to test if those two concepts are indeed suitable for school playgrounds, I would like to analyze them now in accordance with the requirement profile I've shown to you. So the first point says play equipment on schoolyard should provide a versatile range of physical exercise. The central physical exercise of play equipment with a spatial net is climbing in three-dimensional space. And this kind of exercise is beneficial for the children on several levels. On a physical level, posture problems, for example, and obesity can be avoided. Climbing also trains the sense of balance and body awareness. And of course, also motor skills are trained. But there is also happening something on a neuronal level. Because movement in three-dimensional space stimulates interconnection patterns in the brain, and namely those interconnection patterns that are needed for three-dimensional computing. And the German neurobiologist called Gerald Hüther has dealt a lot with this topic, and he said the following words. I hope everyone can understand. One moment.
We are currently led to believe that most well-known cognitive skills, that is to say, languages, mathematics, and natural sciences, are the be-all, end-all. It is in fact, however, questionable whether children can deal with physics, mathematics, and biology at all if they have not already had prior learning experiences to teach them how wonderful it can be to explore new things. It doesn't have to be math itself. A good illustration of this point is that the same children who are really good at math very early on tend to also be extremely good at climbing and balancing on beams. In other words, the best preparation for math is not doing math, but climbing trees, because in these movement models, something is stimulated in the brain, namely the circuit patterns for three-dimensional computing.
Yeah, Gerald Hüther mainly addresses two things. He says the best preparation for math lessons is climbing on trees and balancing on beams. And when we have a look once again,
we are currently led to.
When we have a look once again on this spatial net, we can see that this is nothing else than a tree with many branches in all different directions. When we talk about balancing, we come directly to the low rope courses. Besides climbing, brachiation, swinging, rocking, or jumping, children have uncountless possibilities of balancing. And the good thing about low rope courses is that individual elements serve different degrees of difficulty. And that means students have the possibility to develop further. At first, for example, smaller children will choose a slackline with a handrail, like you can see in the back of the picture. And then when they are becoming older and more secure, feel more secure, they will choose a slackline without a handrail rope where they can balance freely. Yeah, let's go to the next direct factor, which says the playground should provide a high degree of challenge to be as attractive as possible. Now, please imagine you are a 12-year-old child standing in front of this middle-mast structure, which is about four times higher than you at the age of 12. And between you and the top of this structure, you have this spatial net. So what would be your reaction? I know from my kids that they would definitely climb up to the very top of this structure immediately. And this is exactly what makes play equipment with three-dimensional spatial nets so attractive to young people. But the possibility to climb up high in the air entails another important aspect, because here children can learn something about risk assessment and self-limitations. Maybe you know the feeling when standing on a diving tower in open air swimming pool. So you climb up the tower and then you look down and then you think, oh, this is really high. And it really didn't seem to be that high when standing on the ground level. And this is exactly the same feeling children have when climbing up a spatial net. So they start climbing, they want to go up to the very top. After a while, they look down and then they think, wow, this is really high. And then they start thinking, can I do this? Can I go on? Or wouldn't it be better to go down again and try again later? And those are very, very important learning processes for the whole life concerning the question, how far can I go in a certain moment, and about self-assessment. Besides offering the chance to climb up to great heights, a three-dimensional net climbing equipment has the advantage of being highly versatile. As you can see here on this slide, there exist a lot of different possibilities to use the structure, and thus the structure is abstract and does not have a specific topic. Such 3D web climbers offer plenty of space for the students to act out their own play ideas. The challenging nature of low rope courses lies in their versatility and unpredictability. Since there is no clear instruction of how a certain element has to be used, and it is also not clear how a certain rope or rubber mat will react until using it, students are extremely curious about the play equipment. So this is one aspect that makes low rope courses so attractive to young people. The second aspect concerning the attractivity of low rope courses is the wide range of movement offers with different requirement profile, because here all children with all different needs and age groups have the possibility to climb on attractive play equipment. And the different difficulty levels of this play equipment really makes it attractive to all age groups coming together on one schoolyard. The next aspect of the profile says play equipment should provide room for as many children as possible, because this ensures that all students have the possibility for physical exercise during the often very short time of recess. And as you can see here, that's what lower courses definitely provide, a lot of space for physical exercise for many students at the same time. This is a schoolyard in Denmark, by the way. Furthermore, climbing together on one play equipment leads to interaction between the children, as you can see here, and has therefore a positive effect or impact on the social competences of the students. Let me give an example. If this child from the right side starts balancing on the rubber mat, and the other child starts balancing from the other child, the ramp suddenly moves in a completely different way. So now the students realize that their own behavior influences whether the other child gets a little insecure, for example. And that means the students learn through the play equipment in a very playful way what influence their own behavior and their own ability to communicate has on other children. As you can see on this slide, also net climbers offer space for many students at the same time. And here we also have social interactions between the children. Who is going up to the very top? How high is he going up? Who is the fastest in the net structure? Or perhaps someone needs suddenly help because it seems very high to them. And we have frequently observed that in such situations, children are helping each other. And that means also in spatial net structures, social behavior is practiced. Next point in the requirement profile says, play equipment on schoolyards need, of course, to provide the necessary level of safety. And as many of you will know, all our play equipment meet the necessary safety requirements of the ASTM standard. At the same time, we take care to ensure that a calculable risk remains. Of course, our play equipment is designed in such a way that no serious or bad injuries can occur, but also the ASTM provides for a calculable degree of risk acceptance, because it gives children the opportunity to learn about dangers and their consequences in a controlled environment. So what I wanted to say is, without this, many of the positive aspects that I mentioned during my presentation until now would not exist. So the equipment would be less exciting because of the degree of challenge would not be very high. And where there is no risk, there cannot be any learnings about risk assessment. And if there were no more subjectively perceived dangers, there would not be the need anymore of helping each other. And that means that the interactive character of the play equipment would be significantly diluted. So now we come to the indirect factors of the profile. The first aspect here is ease of supervision. And as you can see on this slide, net climbers like these have a completely open structure. This structure consists mainly of rope and one central mast, or in another case, it's a steel tube frame, but it's very open. And that means role-play equipment is as transparent as possible. And this makes supervision by the teachers much easier than it is the case, for example, with standard post and platforms. And as you can see here on this slide, even if many children are in or on the structure, they can be easily observed from all directions. Next factor is a long life service. And as you know, attractive playground equipment is usually used a lot, and especially in schools, it is subject of high loads of kids. And that means only sustainable concepts can guarantee the longest possible service life. The main components of the here shown playground equipment consist of metal and of rope. So let's have a look on those components. Our ropes consist of a steel core that is wrapped in 4 or 6, it depends on the diameter, 4 or 6 polyester yarn covered steel strands. And all in all, this leads to a very high quality and therefore a high load capacity. All supporting elements are made of metal and are therefore protected against corrosion in the long term. That means they are either made of stainless steel or they are galvanized and powder coated. All other elements you can see in our play structures like balls, nodes, and mounting clamps are made of aluminum. And it is the choice of these robust material as well as their high quality workmanship that make our play equipment very, very durable. And this, on one hand, protects the environment, and on the other hand, saves follow-up cost for the school. What about maintenance? Like motor vehicles, playground equipment must also undergo regular maintenance. And for reasons of cost and time, it is important that such maintenance is as easy as possible. And concerning net play equipment, this is usually involves the retensioning of the ropes. And thanks to our Estem TT tensioning system, this is particularly easy because tensioning is achieved simply by tightening the screw inside the system ball you can see here. And if a rope should be so badly damaged by vandalism, for example, that it has to be replaced, this is also possible without any problems, because the Berliner Cloverleaf ring that you can see here on this slide connects ropes in such a way that forces are transmitted directly from rope to rope. And since there is nothing swagged or welded at the crossing points in the spatial net, even individual rope sections can be replaced easily on the schoolyards without having to replace the whole three-dimensional net. Yeah, the last point of the profile says play equipment on schoolyards should be easily extendable. We have often seen that a school decides to have a three-dimensional net, and then a few years later, the school wishes to expand the play area of the playground. And since almost all our play equipment is based on a modular system, the extension of the play area can be easily achieved. And as you can see here, it is possible to combine three-dimensional nets and low rope courses so that individual play and climbing landscapes are created easily. And that also means a decision for a 3D web climber now is not a decision against a low rope course in the future, but both is possible independent from time due to our modular system. So now we tested both concepts of play equipment in accordance with the profile of requirements. And as you can see here, all fields are green, which means spatial net climbers and low rope courses are perfectly suited for schoolyards. Yeah, last but not least, I would like to mention a best practice case. Namely, what you can see here is the Earl M. Lawson Elementary School in Leavenworth in Kansas. It's an example from the US. And this school is a neighborhood school with about 300 students. And it is also the home for the district's functional life skills program, which includes children with physical and intellectual disabilities. And that means the playground of this school needed to accommodate students without disability, students in wheelchairs, and those with autism, sensory, and motor needs. And as you can see here, the school decided to have a big spatial net structure, Neptune, that connects to a net house with a slide. So we can say that this playground includes all of the positive aspects I was talking about until now, because it provides a versatile range of movement offer. It has a challenging character because the students can climb up high in the air. It offers high load capacity. It is as safe as necessary. And children, of course, can be easily observed due to the transparent structure. At the same time, children in wheelchairs can go under the net structure, and if they have upper body strength, they can pull up themselves autonomously out of the wheelchair into the net. And if not, if they do not have the upper body strength, they have the possibility to sit on the rubber mats in the lower section of the spatial net. I think you can see that on the slide as well. Of course, with the help of their caretakers. So this really enables those in wheelchairs to be closer to all the other children. Also, students with hearing impairments can move across the different levels while maintaining in eye contact with the other children or their caretakers outside the net structures. And students with ADD or ADHD benefit from the need to concentrate while climbing in the three-dimensional net. So I think this is a really good example for an inclusive school playground where the openness, the curiosity, and impartiality of children with or without disability makes clear the richness of cooperation and togetherness. This is another example that I would like to point out. This is a school in Hamburg, in Germany, German city. And as you can see, the schoolyard was built on the roof of the school. And what I want to say is that we have developed various roof installation methods for such cases, so that we are able to install play equipment on rooftops. And in this way, we can create new areas for movements, even in urban surroundings where there is often not many space for movement. Yeah, all this information I was talking about until now, you will find in our brochure, Favorite Subject Recess. I will send a link to this brochure after the webinar. And another brochure I would like to show to you is the Inclusive Play Space. Here you can read all information about designing an inclusive play space in detail. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my presentation. And now please feel free to ask questions via chat. Or, as I said before, you can also write me an email. Thank you very much.